Well, I want to jump in here and address a little bit on what I call the God factor. Somebody advised me, well, you don't want to try to bring God into this thing, that's a turn off to some people. And I know that's true. And this is not a webpage where you need to be religious or a Christian or anything else. But whether you are religious or you do believe in God, you don't believe in God, when you face death, the afterlife cannot be avoided. So when people are thinking about taking their lives, that comes up. It comes up. It could be that they just dismiss the whole thing and say, well, I'm just going to die like a dog, and whatever I've got now, whatever somebody's thoughts is about the afterlife, like, well, I'm in hell now anyway, might as well just check out. And so the word hell, the word after the whole afterlife thing is a factor. And what I find too is many times the hopelessness is evolving around some misconceptions we have of God, and that we X him out and say, well, I've already tried that. Can I just be honest with you? Everybody I can think of that has taken their life that I've known, and which is several. I guess I need to try to sit down and count them at one point, but every one of them were what we call believers. They were all Christians. That didn't stop them. And so I'm wondering if there's some things that we need to address in that area. Because my belief is the very one, and many times, maybe even the only one that can really do the miracles, well, definitely, if there's a miracle needed, it's going to take a supernatural power. And sometimes we're looking at things that are really, really, they're so real that it's going to take a miracle. And so if you feel like for whatever reason you're mad at God, or God doesn't care, or the God, you're just not going to look at God. Somebody told me, like, well, I just don't think about him. I choose to just kind of, when I'm thinking about suicide, I just don't look at him. Like he's not seeing me. I don't know. They've just checked out in their brain. But I'd say part of that is because they have felt like I have God and it's not been enough, and I'm still miserable. I've prayed, I've gone to church. And then also there's a lot of guilt that can be in there that I can't even live up to God. As good as God has been to me and all the times he's done and things he's saved me from, I'm still not able to live up to him. Well, let me just say this. If you're a Christian, you need to realize this. God is the only one you don't have to live up to. He already sent his son and lived it for you. He lived the perfect life for humanity and put it on our account. So we didn't have to worry about that. He already knew we wasn't enough in that area. He already knew we was never going to get it right. All the laws, all the fear. I'm telling you, fear is not a good deterrent. I know a lot of people who have an afterlife view of heaven and hell that they still took their life. And where they just believe, well, I'm going to be forgiven. And some people say that, God's going to forgive me because I'm a Christian. And that's okay. But I also see there's a hopelessness when you feel like God is not going to do it, then that's hopelessness. Because we know there's things that only God is our only hope. That God is the one that can mend my broken heart. God is the only one that can help me get out of this pit of despair that I live in, even on good days. God is the only one that could fix my marriage or carry me through this grief or heal my body. If we lose hope in him, then there's hopelessness. And so I think we need to straighten out some things, and I'm going to talk more about it. But I had somebody lately, to tell you the truth, he was a pastor, raised in church, pastor, who'd gotten so disillusioned with probably people, but he was seen as God. He was so angry at God. He actually got to a place that he was cussing God and telling God he hated him. And he said, I didn't know if I'd wake up the next day or if I'd wake up would I ever have faith or whatever. He was so distraught with God. But the next morning, he said he woke up, not even wanting to open his eyes, and he felt like he was hugged with love. He said he never felt so loved in all of his life. Felt like he had this big old hug that God was just hugging him. And he's like, God, but you know what I said? And he said he really felt in his spirit, the Lord said, the God you hate is not who I am. The God you think I am is not who I am. The God that you are mad at is not me. It's the God you think I am. Wow. I'm a God of love. He is. And I'm telling you, don't give up on God, because he ain't give up on you. We just got to get our mind straight. When we're in a place of despair, our mind gets distorted. And religion has done a real good job of distorting who our God is. And we feel like we have to live up, and he's the only one we have to live up to. It's the problem. We want to live up to our own expectations, or we're trying to live up to somebody else's expectations. So don't add that you've got to also live up to God's expectations, or he's just going to be fed up with you. He's not fed up with you. There's still hope. There's still a God that's bigger than all of our problems, who loves us beyond loving ourselves. Hang on. Weeping may endure for a night. At night may be seem like your whole life. But there is joy. There really is a God that can change things and can give you a life worth living and give you purpose. Got to check with the Creator.